Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for Gozyuger episode 40. So this actually was a pretty good episode by Gozyuger standard, which is a default line in these episode reviews. But there was a lot going on here. I mean, you had in part a classic just of the week Gozyuger story that was Halloween themed, which is delayed literally almost a month because it's around Thanksgiving when this aired and Halloween was a month ago, and that just shows you the delay they had with everything. And then also you have some pretty big stuff going on with the Bouquet character and Rikyo, and then obviously outside of that, you have the whole Maya Imamori changing of the cast thing. We were all wondering how they were going to address it, how it was going to feel, and it's addressed right up top. And you have her giving the previously narration. Who am I? I'm David Tennant. Why did this old face come back? And so she storms in and she says that she's been away on an undercover mission and she had Tegasaur change her face and voice and it won't change back. And when she goes to see him, there's a note there that says he's on his rounds or something, or he's doing a checkup or something. He's gone. But yeah, after that, then Rikyo's well, I'm starting to get used to this new face. I actually kind of like it. And she's you know what? I'm going to stay like this. And she does the signature Oni Sister pose, kind of a wink at the audience. And then Rikyo's no, unicorn. So that's how they address it. I'm actually kind of glad they did this. I did a couple videos talking about it. One in particular saying how are they going to address this, if they address it at all. And there was kind of a split between people feeling should they address it or should they not. I think it's more fun to do this. I don't think you need to address a recast in terms of an explanation, but this was kind of almost a midway point of what I thought would happen, which was either a wink at the audience or a small explanation of a glamour or something. So it was both an actual in-universe reason, but also some fun winks and nods. And I actually had a lot of fun with the scene. It is kind of crazy how fast a person would brush something like that off. Oh, I'll just keep this face. That would be a fascinating psychological story in a different show of how you would deal with looking different. This is also a completely random reference, but that's part of the reason I think this in the substance the main character started to see herself as two different people, because she's looking in the mirror and it wasn't a younger version of herself. It wasn't her same face from she was younger. It's a different face. So it'd be easy to disassociate. And I kind of like it too because it almost made me feel nostalgic for the Crazy Town Banana Pants way Saban would explain things, whether it was the peace conference or the weird stuff with Joe being the obvious connection, which it's been a minute since I've seen that. And someone thankfully explained that to me in the comments, that it was basically anyone that saw the spell being cast saw the new face, which included the audience, but everyone else saw her as old Joe, which is nuts. This little girl is now going to see herself as a different face the rest of her life, and same thing with her brother. That's crazy. And I don't know, I just kind of like that, and I thought it was a bit of fun too for those that would recognize her as Oni Sister to have that reference, turning the Oni horns into a unicorn horn. And also, I just enjoy this actress. I've seen a lot of people say that they miss Maya, which is fair, and I thought Maya did great in the role, but I just kind of like her a little bit more just because I do like Dobrothers. In fact, this made me miss Dobrothers because it felt more like an actual show, made me want to do a rewatch. But I did enjoy her performance. I will say, though, maybe it's just I'm misremembering it, but I don't remember Sumino being this animated before. It feels like she's just playing Oni Sister, to be honest with you. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to watch. I do have a lot of fun with this actress in the role, but it feels like a different character in my opinion, even if I'm having fun with it. Before we get to just talking about the actual episode, as far as the rest of the episode fitting her in, maybe it's because I'm looking out for it, but I did feel, not that it was choppy, but you could kind of feel that they kind of just fit her in. There's a couple scenes when the episode's main plot starts around the haunted house where it feels like she's weirdly not there, and then all of a sudden there's just one scene of her, which is clearly just slotted in, which makes sense because they're repurposing all the stuff they've already shot and then just inserting a couple new scenes to make it seem like Sumino is there. And also when they transform, it felt like she was weirdly to the side. Did that mean that they maybe just shot her coverage and spliced it in? Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I feel would it be that hard to get just a group shot of them transforming? I don't know. So there was a couple scenes like that. Also, I have to mention, when she says I've been away, is that implying that between this episode and the last one, there was a gap of time where she's been away? Or are they implying the reason you didn't see her is because off screen she was on this mission, even though she showed up in the fight scenes? That's funny to me, the idea that they're okay, the audience has not seen the human face of Sumino in 2 episodes. Let's explain she was on a mission. Obviously they're explaining the mission for the face, but explain she was away on a mission. But she did show up in suit. So I don't know, that is kind of funny. It kind of gives me a little bit nostalgia for bad editing of forgetting to edit something out. And then again, the reasoning for the face. But setting that aside now, talking about the episode itself, the core of it, much like all of Gozyuger, was where the quote-unquote filler plot was the main thing, and then you are setting up bigger things as the B plot with Bouquet. I did enjoy this, like, number one battle of the week more than most, just because I'm a spooky season guy. You know, I'm recording this on November 30th, and I kind of hold on to the spooky season vibes through Thanksgiving and go kicking and screaming into Christmas. So I enjoyed the set dressing and everything of this, and the idea of them guiding through this haunted house. Like, it was typical Gozyuger game show feeling nonsense, but I just enjoyed the feeling and setting and like props and all that in that. So this would be a good episode to pop on around Halloween if you're wanting to watch Sentai Halloween themed episodes. However, you do have this main thing going on with Bouquet and Rikyo where it revolves around Ribbon is destroyed in this episode. And at first I felt like this is so random, like we just introduced this main general and she was kind of mischievous, maybe had larger stuff going on, and then is killed off quick. Maybe it also felt quick because she was to have a more prominent role for her characterization in the original version of 38. But I felt like, what a weird waste. But then I realized they're doing it to give Bouquet an emotional reason to want to go after Gozyu Lion, and they couldn't have killed off anybody else because they probably have other plans for them. So that makes sense and is at least kind of interesting. Like, I was thinking at the end of this episode, I'm like, at least stuff is finally going. It looks like next episode is going to continue that. And I hope that these last 10 episodes continue to pay off like main story and side character story stuff. So it is an interesting angle. I can't pretend I was all that invested in like Ribbon's death, both in terms of like their bond and the character, but I'm at least excited something interesting is happening. And I can't say that I'm all that interested in her relationship with Blue either, like where I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be so intense. Could they possibly end up together after this? It's more like, okay, at least something is happening other than underground battle, a number one battle. Something that is funny though is I keep forgetting, like every time they bring these two up, I keep forgetting she didn't know that he's the Blue Ranger, just because Sentai is very fast and loose with secret identities. Outside of a few specific cases, unlike Power Rangers, where most of the series revolves around them having secret identities, with exceptions like Lightspeed Rescue, Sentai is very fast and loose with it. It's almost a midway point between secret identities and like an open secret like the MCU. Like, they largely don't seem to care about that, and they're so like nonchalant about it, and usually the villains know the civilian identities of the Rangers, so I keep forgetting about that. I'm like, why is this a surprise? I'm like, oh yeah, she doesn't know who it's him. So, yeah, a decent episode, like I said, to bring things full circle by Gozyuger standards. And even though it's very unfortunate the way everything went down, I do enjoy Oni Sister in the role, even though she's basically playing Oni Sister. I do kind of wish that this series was doing the storyline, like I said, where the other Sentai Rangers that have come back, like Kuwagata Oger, Taya, actually were the characters we know but under a spell, and you could play into something like that with Oni Sister and being like, oh, I gave you a face of an old Sentai Ranger. Anyway, the face came back because Sumino wanted to go back to Donna Noble. That's the reason it happened. Anyways, guys, until next time, Dawson Ryder signing out.